Hey Gluesticks, it is about time for another daycare Q&A, so keep watching. Hey guys, I am Sarah here from Work Like Glue, where we glue work and life together one piece at a time, and one giant piece of my life and my family's life is daycare. I am a child care provider in my home to up to 10 kids under the age of 5. And so every Friday I post a daycare day video. I recently put a call out for questions on our YouTube community tab as well as on our Facebook page. So make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram for more behind the scenes look at our life and inspiration and motivation and funny clips and stuff like that. But let's just jump right in. I think I'm gonna split this up into 2 different videos because I had a lot of questions and I really like to address as many questions as possible, because I like to serve you guys and create, you know, valuable content for you guys. So I don't like to pick and choose questions. I just try to answer as many as possible. So let's just start with the YouTube questions and just jump right in. Before I forget, I always like to say in these videos that I am no expert. I've been a childcare provider for almost 3 years now. I was a nanny for 2 years before that, and I'm a former English teacher. And so I am not like an expert childcare provider, but I really like to start the conversation. And we have an amazing Gluestick community here of moms and childcare providers. So let's just keep the conversation going in the comments if you have things you want to say. So question number 1, and like I said, tons and tons of questions. I am thinking of opening my daycare. How did you buy all the material, toys, furniture? I bought a lot secondhand at garage sales, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, and then I bought a lot of our furniture at IKEA, most of it, and then a lot on Amazon. I have whole videos dedicated to tours of our daycare and favorite products. I will link all of those below so you can kind of get started, but I really can't answer this just in a couple quick seconds. So just look at those. I think, you know, everybody's budget is different, but I tried to get as much secondhand as was reasonable, and then the rest I bought. I'd love to know your thoughts and policies on holding spots. Do you charge a holding fee? If so, how much roughly? Thanks for everything you do. I've been running my home daycare for a year now, and your videos have been so helpful in every aspect of running this business. Well, thank you. I'm happy to help. I do just a $50 holding fee per family. I have like really good word of mouth in my area, so I don't charge a really high holding fee. But what I do for families once they start is that they pay the last 2 weeks up front. If they have multiple children, they just do it for the youngest child. And so I do that so that if a family leaves without giving a 2-week notice, I already have the last 2 weeks. And then, for example, this summer when I have children leaving for the fall, for full day preschool or kindergarten, they don't pay the last 2 weeks because they already paid that up front. So that's what I do. If I had like a big problem with people bailing out on me, I'd charge more, and I would do something different for an infant if the spot was open but they weren't coming yet. They were on maternity leave, but I don't remember what my exact policy is in that. I don't run into that a lot. Piggybacking off of that, have you held a spot for a baby before the mom gives birth? I've held a spot for months waiting for the baby to arrive, only to have them change their mind on the start day. Yeah, that's really tough. I think in that situation, I would have them start paying like a monthly fee, probably not my full rate, but maybe half or something, just to show that they're serious, or maybe just like a one week per month or something like that to hold that spot. Because especially in our area, I don't know about you guys, but in our area, infant spots are so in high demand that yeah, I don't want to be holding a spot when I could easily get another baby to fill that spot. Any tips on having your own kids in your daycare, and thoughts on will you continue to offer daycare once your kids are in school? And then somebody else said, do you plan to send your girls to school once they are old enough, or homeschool? If you're sending them to school, will you still be running your daycare? So this is really up in the air at this point. We're planning to send our kids to public school. Where we live, there's a really good public school system, which is part of why we bought where we did. But I also would like to homeschool. So I don't really know at this point, financially and everything. And I mean, I could theoretically homeschool because I'm home, But I just think with as many kids as I have, I don't think I could do a good job homeschooling and give my daughters the attention they need if they were older than my daycare kids, because my daycare in and of itself takes like all my energy throughout the day. So I don't really know how I would balance that with everything. But if we got to a place where I could, you know, just have a couple daycare kids, maybe while they're doing preschool time, or if I only took older kids, no little kids, like babies and toddlers, maybe I could balance it. I don't really know. But at this point, we're planning to do public school for our kids. I also, this year, Celia will be going to preschool 3 mornings a week. I'm not doing that because she really, quote unquote, needs it. She already knows everything she needs to know for kindergarten. I am doing it mostly for both of our sanity because it gets hard being around each other all the time, and I can see how daycare can have a negative effect on her. So I think it'd be good for her. Plus, I just think it's good for her to learn how to listen and be around other adults and other kids when I'm not around, since I'm like always there. I'm her rock, and now that she's 3.5, like I think it's time to kind of break out a little bit. But that's only like 2.5 hours, 3 days a week, so it's nothing major, but that's the plan thus far. Do I think I'll be doing daycare forever? I don't really know. I don't have like an exit plan at this point. I would love instructions on how to get the toddlers to sleep in the same room and play quietly when if they wake up early. I've heard you mention it several times and would love to do this as well, but I need instructions. I do not usually have, if I have a child who needs to sleep in a pack and play, they sleep in the room alone. I have not had them in the room together at this point because I can only have 2 kids under 2 anyway at this point. One of them is my baby, so she just sleeps in her own bed during like the full nap, and then the other child sleeps down in the basement in a separate room with a monitor, and I just find that works the best. If I didn't have that set up, I think it'd be really hard because they are learning how to sleep and I would have a hard time. So I think I would figure out a way to partition off an area or something so that they're kind of enclosed. But yeah, I don't really have that set up. And then you know, I'm just very strict about nap time. If I have a child who doesn't, you know, sleep the whole time, if they're over 1, they can have toys and books and stuff, and my older kids get books and puzzles, but they play hard here. They get really cranky if they don't get a good nap, and if a family doesn't want their child napping, then they should find another daycare, because I can't balance it all and have kids up all day. I need a break too, and it's when I get a lot of stuff done for daycare and just adulting, because most people get a lunch break and I don't otherwise. This is kind of piggybacking on before. Do you plan to do daycare for a long time, or do you plan to go teaching once all of your kids are in school? I don't really plan to go back to teaching. If I did, I would go back to get my license for younger kids or perhaps special ed. I just think, looking back, I don't think that middle school and high school was the best fit for me. I won't talk a lot about it, but it was really tough. Just like classroom management type stuff, and all of the grading, which if you're an English teacher doesn't really ever go away with experience because they still have papers to grade, which can take a long time. So I don't know. I don't really see myself going back there, but I just don't know where the future is headed. I'm pretty open at this point. Have other things in mind, but don't really know for sure. How do you advertise effectively using social media? What are your daily, weekly, monthly methods? So I only advertise when I have spots open. I think I have a whole video on advertising, so I will link that below. I won't talk about it too much here, but I utilize Craigslist. My local, what is it called? Child Care Association has advertising there, and Facebook group. There's a Facebook group for parents and providers to advertise. So I do that, and then I also let my daycare families know, and I have kindergarten teachers in town who recommend me, and I've had churches recommend me and things like that. So I won't say that I'm always full. Right now I have a couple openings. We have a lot of people looking for, trying to get kids into their daycare right now. I just think because it's the new school year and kids are leaving, but In general, it's not very hard for me to fill spots, but I don't have like a set plan because I don't advertise unless I have openings, because otherwise I'd be getting calls all the time, and I don't really want that if I don't have a spot for a long time. Do you prepare tax documents for your parents? What's that like? It's super simple. I think it's a W-10, and I use the program KidCare, which used to be Minute Menu. It's not my favorite thing in the world, but it's the best thing out there for childcare providers because it is solely for childcare providers. So all I do, because I keep track of all the parents' payments on there, all I do at tax time is push a few buttons and it prints it out and I hand it to them. So it's really, really easy. So basically you're just giving them the amount they've paid for daycare on a W-10, and that program prints it out for me on the W-10, and they sign a copy, I sign a copy, and we're good to go. How soon and how did you incorporate a music person and other outside teachers? Could you lay out a start out checklist? I get so many questions about starting a daycare and things like that, and it's so hard because every single, not even state, but every city is so different, and beyond that, every state is different, every country is different, and so what I had to do is different than what somebody else would have to do in most cases. And especially for music and stuff, it really depends on what's offered in your area. We just happen to be lucky enough to have people who do things like Zumba and music. There used to be somebody, I think, who taught Spanish. There might be a yoga teacher, a craft teacher. So I would just look around, like ask other providers at associations or on Facebook if you can. But I started it right away. I advertised that when I first started, I wanted to, you know, run my daycare the best from the beginning. So I had that right from the beginning, but it really just depends. And I feel bad having to say that so much to questions like that, but I can't give you an answer because you may not have a music teacher in your area. So I can't tell you just go find one if there's nobody there. But you could ask like a local piano player or school music teacher, like maybe they'll come in the summers or after hours for them, or you know, you could reach out to people in your community and see if it might be something they're interested in doing. How do you manage not getting sick constantly? My kids went to daycare once a week for 2 months and got sick every single time. By the time they felt better, it was time to head back to daycare again. I'm not sick constantly, but I feel like I do get sick a lot. If you follow us, we just had hand, foot, and mouth take us out for a whole week. I had to close the daycare for a week to get it to not spread and to keep up with the cleaning and us resting and everything. So I've had pink eye come through, norovirus, just regular colds and things like that. I would say in general, cleaning, but not cleaning too much. I think cleaning too much, you know, rids your body of the natural immunity, but we wash our hands a ton. We play outside when we can, so we're not like on top of each other. Yeah, and I do take probiotics. My kids take probiotics, but I think it just comes with the territory, and especially if your kids are starting at a new daycare, they're probably going to be sick pretty quickly because they're getting used to the germs that are there. But I think over time, you know, it's just like when kids go to school for the first time, they're probably going to be sicker right away than they normally are, but it's building up immunity. So I don't do like any crazy things. In the winter I usually do run essential oils, and I'll rub essential oils on me and my children. My 2 of my own children, I don't put them on daycare kids, but just to, you know, support our body as good as possible. And I also do have elderberry syrup. I don't like the taste of it, but I think this winter I will force myself to take it so that, you know, hopefully that will help build immunity as well. Do you make any age nap? What do you do if you have one kid who wakes up earlier than the other and wakes up all the others? I don't make all the kids nap, but all the kids lay down. Not every kid sleeps the whole time, but I'm very, very strict about it. They have to stay quiet. They have books. The older ones have puzzles they can do. They can get up and go to the bathroom if they need to go to the bathroom. I have had kids who keep the others awake, and if they do that, they go sleep in the basement. I just don't tolerate it because I explained to them that the other kids do need a nap, and if you're not tired, that's fine. You can look at books, you can do puzzles, but you need to stay quiet because the other friends are going to be cranky, and then we're all going to be cranky if they don't get a good nap. So I'm just pretty strict about it. I also let them earn a sticker if they're really good during nap, and if they're having trouble, I will, in the middle of nap, move them if need be, and that usually stops it from then on. But yeah, I don't know, I'm pretty strict about it. What do you do about picky eaters? I have 2 kids in my group who are super picky, and I feel like I'm constantly throwing money down my garbage disposal. Also, I would love to see lunches. I feel like we are always eating the same things and would love to change it up every once in a while. I don't really do anything because I just really do have the philosophy that some kids just take time. Some kids will just always be picky. There's not really much you can do about it. But what I do on days when we're having something I know pretty much all the kids like pizza or like pasta, they love meatballs with pasta, I will like give a vegetable that a lot of them don't like, because I know they're gonna want seconds of that main dish, and I only give seconds if they eat all their food. Not even trying, they have to eat it all, because I say we don't waste food, and if you want seconds you have to eat everything on your plate, and that usually gets them. But the super picky ones, my own daughter is one of them, it goes to waste. I usually give them less if I know it's something they don't like, so it's not wasting as much. I'm not on the food program anymore, so I can do that. But I think it just comes with the territory, and I think if you dig your heels in too much, they will rebel, because it tends to be the pickiest ones are also the stronger willed ones. So yeah, I don't really do much, but I do. It's not really rewarding the ones who eat well, but if they eat all their food and they're still hungry and they want more of like the main dish, I will do that, and that helps motivate and encourage them to eat something they don't like as much. And then on the topic of lunches, I did want to say, it's just a little tiny sneak peek or announcement kind of, but we are in the works of something we are so excited about. I can't contain myself. An extra thing without giving too much away, where we will be offering more value to you guys, our Gluestick community, that I think you will really like. It will be something that costs money, not very much, but the value I think will be so much that I just think, I don't know, I'm just so excited to help bless you guys even more. And you guys have been asking for more recipe videos and things like that, and we thought, how could we do that in a way, since we have limited time and limited resources? And so we've come up with something that will be rolling out in the next few months. That's all I'm going to say, but stay tuned for that. I have not been this excited in a super long time. So just a little sneak preview. I'm waiting for my license inspection. I would like to know what to expect and what they look for. How do I prepare myself? Again, this is really hard because every area is different. Some places you don't have to have a license, some places you do. There's different rules. Here in Minnesota, our licensing rules are extremely strict. There's a lot of controversy surrounding them, especially providers teaming up to kind of go against DHS right now, and how strict the rules are when it's not really adding anything to the kids. It's actually taking away lots of childcare providers. I'm not going to get into that too much, but the rules are really strict. So I would say, you know, in general, to answer this for any area, find out what your rules are, go through them with a fine-tooth comb, walk around your house, check stuff off, make sure you have everything. For me, when I was initially licensed, if I had forgotten something, they would have just had to come back. It wasn't a big deal because I wasn't licensed yet. But now that I am licensed, obviously when they come, everything has to be perfect, because if it's not, I could get like fined or a correction order or something like that. So I'm always looking around my house, making sure everything is good, and my family is well aware of what the rules are. And then right before my licensing time, I just go through and make double sure. But yeah, that's a hard one to answer. Just find out what's expected of you and make sure you're following it. Sorry, I don't have like a better answer for that. Okay, more questions about meals. Like I said, stay tuned. I do have a lot of inspiration for meals on my Instagram. If you go to my Instagram, along the top there's like the highlighted stories. I have a whole one of meals there, so you can check that out. I will be doing more meal videos in the future, but also, like I said, there will be something totally new apart from YouTube that will be coming soon, where you can get more recipes and ideas and things like that, so stay tuned. How often do you make time for yourself? Daycare can be hectic sometimes. If you guys watch, I take time for myself in the mornings. So I have a whole morning routine I do, and then on top of that, at night I try to spend some time just watching a show or with my husband. Other than that, yeah, I totally feel ya. My daughter goes to my parents' house once a month. I have a whole video on that. I call it my hustle day. But I'm usually getting stuff done, but that also feels good for me because I like to do things. I like to check stuff off my list, but I'm not good about it. Just to say that, I think as a mom too, it's just really hard. But I try to just build in a little bit of time every day for myself, doing things that push me forward, that motivate me, inspire me. Yeah, I get up before my kids to do that. When you nurse Bryony during daycare hours, do you cover up? Talks about how her baby doesn't like to be covered and what she could do about that. So yes, I cover when I feed my baby. If my baby didn't like to be covered, I think I would just be very discreet about it, and I would just make sure the parents knew. I sent out a little thing before I reopened after my maternity leave, just letting parents know that I plan to nurse, that I will be covered, but that they should know about it and let me know, like, if they're gonna pick up and drop off at a weird time, just in case, so not caught off guard. But right now I only nurse in front of them one time a day, and that is when we sit down for them to watch their show while I go make lunch. I just sit with them for the first like 5-7 minutes, nurse her, and then I go make lunch, so they're really not even facing me. But I do cover, and then I also nurse her again while they're at the very end of nap before I get everybody up, so they're not even seeing me then. But yeah, I would just be really discreet about it and just let parents know, so they know they may get questions about it at home, but hopefully your parents will be supportive because it's your choice how you feed your baby. Okay, so that's gonna be all the questions for this first segment of the Q&A. Still have all the Facebook questions and a little bit of the YouTube questions left to go. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe if you are not already. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.